a funny story, boys and girls. You're going to like it because it's about Charlie Brown. I want a dog for Christmas. Charlie Brown. I wonder who says that. Because Charlie Brown has a dog. It was Christmas vacation, and Linus and Lucy's little brother, Rerun, were looking for something to do. Rerun rang the doorbell at Charlie Brown's house. He had a basketball and a bag of Christmas cookies with him. Charlie Brown opened the door. "Ask your dog if he wants to come out and shoot a few baskets with me," Rerun said. "Oh," Charlie Brown said, "I'll see if I can find him." Charlie Brown disappeared back into the house. Suddenly, Snoopy burst through the door and grabbed the basketball right out of Rerun's hands. Snoopy dribbled to the basket and made a shot. He caught the ball, spun, and made another. Snoopy was a basketball whirlwind. Then Snoopy dribbled back to Rerun, flipped him the ball, and went back into the house. After a moment, Charlie Brown came back to the door. "I couldn't find him," Charlie Brown said to Rerun, "but I doubt he would have been interested in playing basketball with you." But Rerun wasn't about to give up. "Ask your dog if he wants to come out and just play. Afterwards, I'll give him a Christmas cookie with sprinkles on it." Inside, Snoopy heard what Rerun said, and he liked what he heard. Rerun and Snoopy played all day long. They danced, they jumped, they tumbled, and they sang. Finally, they collapsed into a heap, laughing. Rerun opened his brown paper bag and handed a Christmas cookie to Snoopy. Snoopy happily scarfed it down. Then Snoopy grabbed the entire bag and ran off. "I guess dogs eat a lot," Rerun said. The next day, Rerun went back to Charlie Brown's house. Charlie Brown opened the door. "Please ask your dog to come out and play again," Rerun said hopefully. Why don't you get your own dog?" Charlie Brown asked. Rerun looked sad. "My mom won't let me. She says dogs are too much trouble." "Well, that's too bad," Charlie Brown said. Rerun started to walk home. "There's only one thing left to do," he said. "It's time to see Santa Claus." Rerun saw his sister, Lucy. He called out to her, "I need you to take me to Santa Claus." "Why?" Lucy asked. "I have something very important to ask him," Rerun said. Meanwhile, Snoopy was up to something. He was searching through all the stuff in his doghouse. Finally, he came out with a box. He pulled out a furry red coat, a long red hat, a pair of black boots, and a fake beard. He put everything on. Now he was dressed like Santa. He pulled a bell out of the box and started ringing it. Ring, ring, ring. Lucy and Rerun walked up to... Lucy looked Snoopy over doubtfully. "Okay. If you're a real Santa Claus, where are your reindeer?" she asked. Snoopy just rang the bell. Ring, ring. "How are you going to land on all those rooftops," Lucy went on, "and go down all those chimneys? And after you go down a chimney, how are you going to get back up? Huh? I'll give you about 3 houses and then you'll be completely exhausted." Suddenly, Snoopy stuck his bell into Lucy's face, and it stuck there on her nose and her mouth. With a pop, Lucy pulled the bell off her face. She glanced at Snoopy, then turned to Rerun. "As your big sister," Lucy said, "I feel it is my duty to tell you that what you see is not the real Santa Claus. What you're looking at is a dog in a Santa Claus suit. Now that I've told you this, how does it make you feel?" Rerun grabbed Snoopy and gave him a big hug. "I like him," he said. "I don't care who he is. as long as he can get me a dog for Christmas. Snoopy rang his bell and pointed at the box where he kept his Santa outfit. What does he want? Rerun asked Lucy. I think he wants a contribution in his box there, said Lucy. Rerun reached into his pocket and got out a penny and flipped it into Snoopy's box. Snoopy shook Rerun's hand excitedly and said, "Woof!" Lucy pulled Rerun away. Snoopy waved goodbye with his bell. What did he say? Lucy asked her little brother. He said, "Thank you," said Rerun. "The money is for a worthy cause. Merry Christmas," he said. And he said, "Say hello to the stupid kid with the blanket and his crabby sister." Lucy's face turned red. Snoopy was talking about her and Linus. "Forget it," Lucy said to Rerun. "Mom will never let you have a dog anyway. They can be a lot of trouble. Just ask Charlie Brown about his stupid dog." Rerun found Charlie Brown and Snoopy out by Snoopy's doghouse. Charlie Brown handed a letter to Snoopy. "This letter came for you today," he said. Snoopy opened the letter and started to read. He smiled. Then he started to laugh. He handed the letter back to Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown looked it over. "It's a letter to Snoopy from his brother Spike." Charlie Brown explained, "The one who lives in the desert." "Does Spike live all alone in the desert?" Rerun asked. "Yes, he does," said Charlie Brown. "He's probably very, very lonely." Suddenly, Rerun had a great idea. Rerun asked Snoopy to write a letter for him. Snoopy whipped out his typewriter and put a piece of paper in it. "Please write to your brother in the desert," Rerun said. "Tell him he can be my dog." Snoopy types as Rerun talked. "Tell him we'll be pals. He can chase sticks and pull me in my wagon and learn tricks, and we'll celebrate Christmas together." When Spike arrived, he was carrying a cactus. Snoopy, Charlie Brown, Lucy, and Rerun went out to meet him. Snoopy and Spike were so happy to see each other, they started dancing around the cactus. Lucy said, "Spike, good grief, you're so thin. I'm going to take you home and feed you." Lucy did just that. She fed him milkshakes to fatten him up and took extra special care of him because she was playing nurse. "Hey, that's my blanket he's wearing," Linus cried out. Lucy was dressed as a nurse, and she said, "It's a hospital robe. You have to imagine that," she explained. When Spike was feeling better, Rerun taught him lots of games, and they had fun together. But Rerun's mother wouldn't let Spike stay, so he had to go back to the desert. With tears in his eyes, Rerun gave Spike a big hug. "Goodbye," he said. "I'm really going to miss you. Don't forget to write to me." Spike waved, picked up his cactus, and started back home. "Rerun," Lucy said. She held a piece of paper in her hand. "I realize how upset you must be about losing Spike. So, to make you forget about the dog, I've signed you up to be in our Christmas play." Lucy handed the piece of paper to Rerun. "Here's the script. Just memorize it and memorize it perfectly." Rerun panicked. But I can't read," he cried. "Don't worry," Lucy said. "You only have one line, and I'm going to help you." On the night of the play, the gang stood together. Rerun stood at the edge of the group. He was nervous. Each of the kids told part of the story. Schroeder began. "We're here to tell you of a wondrous light," he said. "A wondrous light that was a star," said Linus. Lucy said, "The wise men saw the star and followed it from afar." Then Charlie Brown said, "They found the stable in the night, beneath the star so big and bright." Rerun nudged his sister. I can't remember my lines," he whispered out of the corner of his mouth. Franklin spoke. The wise men left the presents there, gifts so present and rare. Pigpen said, look up, look up. The star still stands, seen by millions in the lands. It was time for Rerun's line. You better remember it right now, Lucy hissed, or else, out of the side of her mouth. Suddenly, Rerun stood straight up. The star that shone at Bethlehem still shines. It shines for us today, he yelled. Out of the corner of her mouth, Lucy whispered, Merry Christmas. Rerun felt faint. He'd done it! He said, Merry Christmas. Thank you, he whispered to Lucy. And back in the desert, Spike has a sign hanging on his cactus. It says, Merry Christmas.